Welcome to Stats Madness. Joining me today is tactical expert Frank Hardy. Brighton and Hove Albion's stunning 3-0 victory over Chelsea pushes them to 9th place, just a point behind 6th. Can Brighton secure a European spot? Let's start with their tactical brilliance. Brighton's tactical brilliance got them the win, but how did the stats tell the story?
The 3-0 scoreline highlights their dominance. Brighton had 9 shots on target compared to Chelsea's 0, a 100% differential. They also took 15 total shots against Chelsea's 6 and created 4 big chances, while Chelsea had none. This shows not just tactical superiority, but also sustained attacking pressure.
With Brighton's tactical brilliance clear, what categories showed the strongest performance differences?
Brighton's attack was outstanding, with an 81.1 score compared to Chelsea's 7.7, an 83% advantage. In possession, Brighton controlled 56.5% against Chelsea's 45.8%, a 10% edge. Defensively, Chelsea held a slight edge, 37.5 to Brighton's 32.4, a 7% advantage, but it wasn't enough to sway the match.
So, with Brighton's tactical edge evident, what specific stats highlight their attacking dominance?
Brighton was relentless up front. They attempted 11 goal attempts compared to Chelsea's 2, and within the box, they had 13 shots against Chelsea's 3. Their aggressive approach was clear.
Wait, really? And what about their possession? Did that contribute to the attacking success?
Absolutely. Brighton's possession game was strong, with 23 total crosses to Chelsea's 12, and they executed 24 successful long passes compared to Chelsea's 14. This distribution created consistent pressure.
Interesting. Brighton's attacking stats were impressive. How did the match momentum shift in key intervals?
Brighton dominated early, with 76.2% possession and 4 shots in the 0-15 window, scoring a goal by Ferdi Kadolu. They controlled crosses, with 8 total, including 2 accurate. Despite Chelsea's attempts to recover, Brighton's consistent pressure, especially successful long passes, spiked in the 75-90 window, with 6 against 2. Danny Welbeck sealed it with a 90th-minute goal, showcasing Brighton's ability to maintain their edge throughout.
So, Brighton maintained their momentum impressively. How do their stats today compare to their season averages?
Brighton's performance was outstanding today. They had 9.0 shots on target compared to their average of 4.45. Inside the box, they managed 13.0 shots, surpassing their 8.24 season norm. They created 4.0 big chances, doubling their usual 2.22. Goal attempts stood at 11.0, higher than 8.39. Finally, they took 15.0 total shots, edging past their 12.76 average. Each stat showcases significant improvement over their season performance.
Brighton's shot stats were impressive, but what about their league standing and identity this season?
Brighton typically ranks in the top 10% for tackles, averaging 18.64, yet only managed 13 today. This dip contrasts with their usual aggressive defensive identity.
Wait, really? And how's their crossing game holding up in comparison?
Their successful crosses percentage fell to 13% today, well below their 29.18 average, which is in the top 5% league-wide. It's an identity shift worth noting.
Given Brighton's league position, how do they stack up against their peer group in key metrics?
Brighton excels in ball possession percent, averaging 52.85, outpacing Newcastle. However, their big chances created average of 2.22 lags behind Brentford's 3.19. They match AFC Bournemouth in shots total at 12.76, but shine by missing just 1.48 big chances per match, showing greater efficiency than Crystal Palace. This nuanced performance reflects areas of strength and opportunities for growth.
Brighton's efficiency is notable, but what about Chelsea's recent performance against their season averages?
Chelsea's stats show a concerning dip. They recorded just 7 tackles, far below the 15.82 season average. Shots on target dropped to 0 from a usual 4.58. Goal attempts fell to 2 compared to 8.79. Inside the box, they managed only 3 shots against a 9.39 average. Lastly, big chances created were absent, down from 2.94. This performance highlights areas needing urgent improvement.
Chelsea's performance has dipped, and it seems there's an identity crisis unfolding. How do they measure against league averages?
Chelsea's big chances created hit a worrying 0 under their 2.94 average, while the league sits at 2.27. Interceptions dropped to 8 from 9.73, though still above the norm of 8.24. Their long passes percentage was just 33%, below the 46.7 season average.
Wait, really? And that held up across multiple matches? What's the most striking comparison here?
Yes, it's noticeable. Chelsea's successful passes percentage fell to 84%, below their typical 86.79, yet still above the league's 81.29. This suggests a systemic issue in maintaining their high standards.
Considering Chelsea's league standing, how do their stats compare against the top 6 teams?
Chelsea matches Manchester City and Arsenal in big chances created with 3.001 per game, but they excel in efficiency, missing only 1.69 big chances compared to City's 2.06. However, their shots total of 13.91 lags behind Liverpool's 15.73. In ball possession, Chelsea's 58.42% aligns closely with Arsenal's 56.12%, highlighting areas of competitive parity and need for improvement.
Chelsea's efficiency was impressive, but let's shift to individual performances. Who stood out on the field with their ratings?
Ferdi Kadiolu was the standout with an impressive 8.34 rating, dominating the defensive line for Brighton. Pascal Gross also shone in midfield, earning a 7.51 rating for driving his team forward. Jan-Paul van Hecke delivered solid defense with a 7.43 rating, while Olivier Boscali contributed a 7.32. Lastly, Danny Welbeck showcased his skill with a 7.25 rating, despite limited minutes.
From standout performances, let's focus on Ferdi Kadiolu's numbers. How did his recent stats compare to his season average?
Ferdi Kadiolu was sharp in rating, recording 8.34, above his typical 6.86 output. His duels won reached 5.0, surpassing the usual 3.94. In interceptions, he delivered a personal best of 3.0 against an average of 1.5. However, his accurate passes percentage remained consistent at 90.0, aligning with his 85.15 season average.
Ferdi Kadiolu's above-average performance really stood out. Now, how does he rank in the league compared to other fullbacks?
Ferdi Kadiolu excels among fullbacks, with a rating of 8.34, placing him in the top 16%, well above the league average of 6.71. His accurate passes percentage is equally impressive at 90.0%, ranking in the top 28%, compared to a league norm of 81.5%. These numbers highlight his standout abilities in maintaining possession and supporting play, crucial for his role.
Given Ferdi Kadiolu's impressive league ranking, how does he stack up in duels and crosses against his positional peers?
Ferdi Kadiolu shows room for growth. His duels won average is 5.0, trailing peers like Patrick Dorgu at 7.0. In successful crosses percentage, he averages 38.1%, behind Nico O'Reilly's 67.0%. These comparisons highlight areas where Kadiolu could strengthen to reach the upper echelon of fullbacks.
Speaking of Kadiolu, let's compare Pascal Gross to his own season average. How does he measure up?
Pascal Gross has been impressive. His rating is 7.51, just above his 7.27 average. For key passes, he's at 5.0, significantly higher than his usual 3.0. In ball recovery, Gross is performing well, with a 5.0, surpassing his standard 4.43. These figures show Gross is in fine form and exceeding expectations this season.
So, Gross is outperforming his season average. How does he stack up against the league's midfielders?
Jamie, Pascal Gross truly stands out. His rating of 7.51 places him in the top 2% of midfielders, far above the league's 6.8 average. In key passes, he's a top 1% performer with 5.0 per game versus the league norm of 1.49. Additionally, his passes in the final third are in the top 16%, averaging 6.0 against the league average of 4.3. These numbers confirm his elite status.
Speaking of league performance, how does Jan-Paul van Hecke's season compare to his own averages?
Jan-Paul van Hecke turned in a consistent rating showing with 7.43, right in line with his 7.09 average. However, he delivered a personal best in ball recovery, registering 6.0, well above his seasonal average of 3.12. These stats emphasize his steady defensive contributions, while highlighting his improvement in regaining possession.
So, Van Hecke's improved ball recovery is interesting, but how does he stack up against league benchmarks this season?
Jan-Paul van Hecke excels in rating, ranking in the top 16% with 7.43, well above the 6.8 league average. For clearances, he's in the top 22%, noting 4.0 compared to a 3.88 league norm. His interceptions, although lower at 0, still place him in the top 20%, outperforming the 1.59 average. Overall, he stands out significantly among centre-backs.
Olivier Boscali's league standing is impressive, but how do his personal stats compare to his season averages?
Olivier Boscali maintained a solid rating at 7.32, aligning with his 6.9 season average. In tackles, he excelled with 2.0, surpassing his usual 1.75. Interestingly, his interceptions remained steady at 2.0, exactly matching his season average. These numbers highlight his consistent performance, keeping him competitive among centre-backs.
We saw Olivier Boscali's consistency, but switching to strikers, how does Danny Welbeck stack up this season?
Danny Welbeck's performance shows a mix. He scored 1.0 goals, slightly below his 1.3 season average, suggesting room for improvement. However, his rating stood at 7.25, comfortably aligning with his 6.83 average. This consistency in rating is crucial for maintaining his status among forwards, even if the goal tally needs a boost. Welbeck's numbers show he's holding steady, but there's potential to elevate his impact.
Welbeck's consistency is notable, but shifting focus, Brighton and Hove Albion's 3-0 victory highlighted their superior chance creation, 4.0 to 0.0. Thanks to Frank Hardy for his insights, and to our audience for joining us. Until next time, keep enjoying the beautiful game.